today. There's fans protesting against the way the club's being run and the results. What's your view over what the point that they're trying to make, and your overall view of this football club? Because it can't have been what you expected when you came here.
I mean, we all know that football is a game of passion and emotions, and I think we can all understand, and I can understand that our supporters are being disappointed, both about where we stand in the table, but also about a performance, for example, that we showed against Everton after we had conceded that first goal. But I still believe that our supporters are one of the best, if not the best, in England, and as long as they do that protest in a peaceful way, and as long as they still support the team in the stadium, I think they have the right to express their opinion. And as I said, emotionally, I can understand that they are being disappointed.
In terms of the overall results since you've been here and the overall performances, are you disappointed? Are you shocked? How do you feel about the fact that you've not been able to kind of trigger the improvement that I think most people expected when you came?
Well, I think we did. I mean, we had moments and situations and games and spells where we played well, where we showed that there is that the team would be able to play on a higher level. If I just think about games that we played against Crystal Palace, the first game, against West Ham, against Tottenham, away at Leeds, until the 70th minute away at Aston Villa. I think we had quite a few games where we really played well, not only with regard to the result, but also the way that they played together, that we played together as a team. But what we couldn't do is do it in a sustainable way and over a longer period of time. And yes, I'm disappointed about that. I would have thought that we would be able to play sustainably on a higher level, and I'm not happy with that myself, for sure. But this is what we will still try to do for the rest of the season.
Ralph, obviously in the background there's still we're still to see what exactly is going to happen as regards the manager going forward. And Erik ten Hag has been asked about it today. He says he's still got to concentrate on Ajax, but what can you tell us? When can we expect an announcement as regards this? Because obviously, to all intents and purposes, it looks like it's a done deal now.
I don't know if it's a done deal, and my reply is the same as Erik ten Hag's reply was. My focus is on the game tomorrow against Norwich, and prepare the team in order to be able to play on a higher level and win the game.
Can we talk about it in general terms, though? And what qualities do you see in someone like Erik ten Hag that would see him be able to bring success to a club like Manchester United?
Yeah, again, doesn't make sense. We all know that he's a good manager and that he's done a good job at Ajax and also in former clubs. But right now it doesn't make sense if I tell you what I think about any other coach.
Do you have to take it game by game now, Ralph, as well then? Is that the focus and that's how you maintain and try and finish as high up the table now as possible?
Yes, of course. I mean, this is in football in general, no matter where, this is what it's all about. But even more so in our situation, it doesn't make sense to speculate how other teams will play or if they still drop points or not. It's as long as we don't win our own games, the other results will never be in our favor. So our focus is on tomorrow and in front of again 75,000 play on a high level and win the 3 points.
Ralph, you said a moment ago about being unable to sustain a higher level throughout your time here. You explained the games that you have played well and the spells maybe that you haven't. Do you know the reason why you think you haven't been able to sustain that higher level, like you say? Do you know the key reason?
Well, I can imagine what reasons are, and of course we also, without using that as an excuse or as an alibi, we have lost a few players. Since the West Ham game, for example, we lost 3 of our strikers, who were all part of that game and also part of that last second goal that we scored. And right now we are missing quite a few other players with Fred and Scott McTominay, our 2 defensive midfielders. So yeah, this is also probably one of the reasons, but in total it's also that we are not, as I said, sustainably playing on the highest possible level. I think we reduced the amount of goals that we conceded. In the last couple of games we were struggling to score ourselves. But this has not always been the case. We scored 3 goals against Tottenham, for example. We scored in 2 or 3 games also 2 goals. So, yeah, it's about still finding the best possible balance between what is necessary as a team to defend our own goal and our own box. The way that we defended the goal against Everton, I was not happy at all. Not only because of that unforced error in midfield. That was not the best possible ball that we played from Fred to Nemanja Matic, and Nema could have defended the ball in a better way. But even after that, there were almost 12-15 seconds that we could have defended that in a much better way, and we don't do that. And this is also one of the problems that we're having, that we are not keeping a clean sheet in a game like this. And I'm 100% convinced, had we scored the first goal in this game, it would have been a different game, and we would have probably won the game.
Has motivation been an issue of late? The last 2 performances in particular, like you say, when United have conceded, not so much against Leicester, obviously, because there was a good response to it, but the general feel of those matches has not been what we would normally expect from your team.
Again, it shouldn't be a problem at a club like Manchester United. The players who play for Manchester United should always have an eternal level of motivation. But yes, if I look at the Everton game, until that first shot on our goal, that deflected shot, we were in control of the game. Not saying that we played extremely well, but we controlled the game. From the sideline, I always had the feeling that they felt shaky. Everton at that time, by that time, had we scored ourselves, it would have been different, but we didn't. And with the first shot on goal, we conceded the goal ourselves. And from then on, it changed the atmosphere in the stadium, which was clear, which was obvious, but it also a little bit changed our own energy level in our own team. And this is what should not happen. Even if you concede a goal, that can happen in football with a deflected shot, you should still be aware that we are the better team, that we have better players, and that we can dominate the game. But it wasn't the case, and this is, it's got to do probably with confidence, with whatever you may call it motivation, but it's definitely affected our level of confidence at that moment.
Thank you.
Ralph, you mentioned that Fred and Scott McTominay are missing. There were a number of other players missing from training this week. Can you give us an update on team news?
Yeah, 5 players will still be missing for tomorrow, and some of them probably also for the upcoming games. You already mentioned Fred and Scott. Rafa Varane will still be missing out. Luke Shaw, who had his bolts and metal stuff removed from his leg, and Edison Cavani. Those are the 5 that will be missing.
With Luke, did that operation go smoothly? There's been some suggestion that he might be out for longer than you originally had.
Yeah, as it seems, he will be out for at least another 4 weeks, if not 5 weeks. So I think for him it will be difficult to be available for one of the outstanding remaining 7 games.
Thank you.
I'm a realist, and I also know how difficult it's going to be. There's no give-me's in the Premier League, as we all know. We're travelling to Old Trafford next, the Theatre of Dreams, and what a tough place to go. But we've got that renewed confidence from what 4 points in the last 2 games brings you, and they lost their last game against Everton as well. And we've analysed Manchester United's last 3 or 4 games, as we always do. But you can't get away from the very good footballers as well, and if they weren't, they wouldn't be at Manchester United. So we're looking forward to the game. As I say, we've got that renewed confidence, and let's try and climb that mountain and see if we can do what people have already said is not doable, I would say.
Well, after losing to Everton last weekend, it seemed to heighten the discussions around who the next permanent manager at Manchester United would be. So let's get to our journalist in the studio and find out what the latest on that is. Erik ten Hag seems to be the front runner. There's been a lot of discussions this week about him being appointed.
Yeah.
When do we expect that news to be actually official?
Well, I actually got the Dutch Cup final on Sunday. They play PSV Eindhoven, who they're also vying with for the league. So it's quite a sensitive period of time in the season for them. And actually, they've banned English journalists from attending their
Have
press
they?
conferences. Yeah, they don't want anyone asking questions about the future of their coach. So all English journalists are banned, which is quite an extreme move to take. But I understand the
So it's happening then,
sensitivity.
definitely.
Well, absolutely.
Basically.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be doing that for no reason,
No.
would you? No. So I think it should be announced next week. I think they need to make an announcement sooner rather than later. As far as I'm aware, I was told last week by somebody close to Ten Hag it was 99% done. So which means that basically I think it's a signature away from happening. So it'll be a 3-year contract with a 12-month extension onto that, and he'll be bringing in his backroom staff as well to sort of, obviously try and sort things out. Manchester United have got a massive job on his hands. I think, to be fair to him, there was some stories around saying he wanted full control of transfers. He's never asked for full control. What he's asked for is an input, and he will get that. But I think that's what he's been talking to them about in quite a lot of detail in the last 2 weeks is really the makeup of the squad, who's going and who's coming. So I think he's getting into quite detailed discussions about that. I think he's expecting quite a big summer there in terms of changes. I think he's expecting quite a few players to move on, quite a few players to be bought. I think Manchester United have a lot of business to do. So I think we're at that level now with him. So I think he will be the next Manchester United manager, and good luck to him, because I think he's got a heck of a job in his hands. I don't want to prejudge him, but I think there is a risk involved because he has never worked in that sort of structure before. He's come through a system at, obviously at Ajax, very, very clear how the structure of the club is there. Even before that at Bayern Munich, where he was the coach of the second team, and obviously at Go Ahead Eagles. He's in a very clear structure of where he's worked before. Manchester United, it's a leap into the unknown to a extent, and then the profile, massively. I mean, Ajax is a big club in European football, but it's nowhere near the level of Manchester United in terms of the media profile, in terms of everything else. So it is a risk involved, and he's going to take it. But to answer your question, it will be Erik ten Hag.
Okay, as you mentioned as well, it is a big job, Jason. How much time does he need, and will he get the patience from the fans?
He needs a lot of time. Yeah, there needs to be a big turnaround. He needs to see what the footprint is of the football club. Like we were saying there about what he works with beforehand, the structures. Recruitment's massive. He needs time. He needs time. He needs to get a few players out. I mean, there's a lot of scope on Ronaldo. I mean, he's come under some stickers this season. United's top goal scorer. Is he a luxury player that he needs? Does he feel like he can work with them? He's a big admirer of bringing in the connection with the youth team as well. That seemed to be separated. One thing I would say with Manchester United is you've got to have a certain bit of ilk to be associated with United in terms of management-wise or player-wise. When you're a player, wearing the Man United shirt is so heavy. Wearing that shirt. It's the exact same as a manager as well. There needs to be a certain personality, a certain character, and only a few can carry that off.
Do you think do you think for him, I'm just listening in here, do you think coming in now where there's so many, Pogba's, all of these players out of contract, Lingard, etc., players left on 1-year contracts, could it be a good time for him to come in where they're just completely getting out all the old, which is what they need to do, and then, as you say, coming in with his own philosophy, own ideas, having a little bit of say in the transfer window and bringing in his own, identity of players? Maybe what I'm saying, previous managers have gone in there with players that they probably don't want there but can't get them out, can't offload them, and he's coming in at a time where he's in a better position to offload the players that have probably outgrown Man United now in terms of...
If you look at that squad, you've got players in it from, I think it's 5 different managers, basically.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a whole, it's like a hybrid, basically, all these different players bought by different managers. It needs absolutely that sort of focusing in on what do we want to be, who are the players here we see as our future. Manchester United have never done that really, because they've chased every different type of thing. Obviously, with David Moyes, they wanted a Fergie clone. Louis van Gaal, they wanted a big personality. Jose Mourinho, they just wanted to win. Yeah. Basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they tried to go back to the future. And now obviously Erik ten Hag, hopefully somebody there who can sort things out. The problem is he's never done that before. He's never ever done that before. And what I worry for Manchester United is they've looked at Pep Guardiola and they've looked at Jurgen Klopp and thought, who's a hot young manager, 53-year-old by the way, who's a hot young manager in European football who can be that for us? That isn't Erik ten Hag. I don't think, personality-wise. It might be in terms of coaching, so good luck to them all. But I worry for them that they want a manager to sort them out, and that's not what Erik ten Hag is, basically. But he can succeed if they give him the right support around him, and that's the question mark I've got. Have they got the people around him to protect him as much as anything else, because the media spotlight alone is going to be massive.
Yeah, and it will, I suppose it will be a bit of a relief when it is announced, because this has been rumbling on for so long, Steve, and the players need to focus on the job they have in hand now. They obviously can't win any trophies this year, but they still have the potential to finish in the top 4. Can they do it, starting off with this game against Norwich?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think they'll get top 4.
Is it still a success to play in the Europa League next season for Manchester United?
No, not for Manchester United. No, not at all. Not at all. This, like I said there, it throws a lot of weight, this badge, and the players have underperformed. Yes, there's been injuries and lack of form and non-consistency, but it's... I think now the players have got to realise what they're playing for this remainder is for their own careers for the next season. Do they want to be there? Do they want to play? Do they want to be involved in this project? It's going to take 2-3 seasons, because as long as Klopp's in charge and as long as Pep's in charge, Man United are never going to win the league.
Would they almost suit them a bit better to not play European football at all next year, Farah, and actually focus on the league, perhaps?
Potentially. I mean, it will give them more time. They won't have the midweek, the back-to-back games. So it'll potentially give the manager more time. I just think, as you mentioned, I think it's going to take them a good few years to get back anywhere near where Man United expect them to be right now. I think they've fallen so far off of it that it's going to take a building process and getting the right people in and staying consistent with that. You can't just keep chopping and changing because you're Manchester United and you want the best in. Look, Ollie was there; he probably overstayed his time there, and in doing that, he's kept baggage and players that shouldn't have been there as long as they have been. So I think he needs time. I think and United fans need to be patient with that. If they really want to see their club back to where they were under Fergie, it's going to take time. It didn't, Fergie didn't just come in and change everything at United and was successful straight away. So it's going to take time.
Yeah, well, looking at Norwich, Manchester United will expect that they can win this game, but Norwich surprised everyone last week, of course, beating Burnley. They've given themselves an outside chance, because you don't sit on the fence, Steve. Can they survive?
No. No, I've covered Norwich a few times this season, and they deserve to go down. Look, they give it a go in the summer in terms of what they spent. Recruitment's been poor. The loan system's not really worked for them with Gilmore. So they've just fallen short, which they've done in many seasons, and that's their model. That's the way that they go about. They've tried to spend this year and get away with it, and they've just fallen short again.